NFL Week 3 is all wrapped up, and we have eyes on the NFL Week 4. And after a crazy, hectic few weeks to start the NFL season, we're going to try to unpack kind of what we have seen, what we know about each one of these teams. We now have a sufficient amount of data to start making and discerning who is relevant, who is not relevant, who is contending, and who is pretending. So lots to be excited about. This Week 4 slate has some juicy matchups. For those of you who don't know us, we are Statletics. We ride on our projections. They are statistical-based projections. Scarlett is her name. She's treated us well. The model is awesome, and we just love to talk ball. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through some of the biggest games on the slate, dive in detail, talk about some of the numbers, some of the matchups, who we think is going to win, and then we'll do a best of the rest where we pick the games for the rest of the slate. Before we do that, Beach, how are we doing, brother?
Doing great. You know, the NFL season makes no sense so far. These teams, I don't know who a lot of these people are, if they're pretending or contending. So, and then we've got the sad week. Harrison's getting wiped up this week, guys.
I am.
He's getting wiped up this week. So I'll never see him again. Just kidding.
Yep. It is my wedding week, so I may be dropping off the face of the earth for the next few weeks. But hey, I'm here and I'm still ready to talk ball. So some things may never change. I do have a fun stat for you, Beach. You mentioned it's crazy and it's hectic, and I don't think people just grasp how crazy and hectic this year has been. NFL underdogs who were 5.5 point or more in the underdogs by the spread are 14-2 against the spread, with 9 wins outright. 9 outright wins for teams who were underdogs by 5.5 more points. That is absurd, unprecedented.
Week to week, these teams look completely different. It doesn't make any sense to me.
The margin in the NFL of teams is getting like smaller and smaller and smaller. The talent margin is getting smaller. It's almost like we're watching like bad football. And some of it, I think we're watching bad football, but on some, I think we're figuring out more about the game. We also lost you think about it, quarterback play is down. We do have some really shitty quarterbacks right now. And I think we got spoiled with the quarterbacks that we watched of the past, with guys like Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, prime Russell Wilson. I mean, we were very much spoiled with the QB play that we had on the field. So it kind of sucks that we're missing some of that. But we do have some QBs maybe coming onto the scene. Cough, cough, Jaden Daniels, maybe. So, all right. Enough tomfoolery, Beach. The NFL Week 4 slate. We're going to start from the top with one of the biggest and most anticipated matchups of this week. Sunday Night Football. The Red Hot Bills, dude, they are shredding teams on the offensive side of the ball. Go and face the Ravens, who really made a statement in the first half of their game against the Dallas Cowboys last week. They ended up blowing their lead and making it a 3-point game late, but Derrick Henry rumbled through, closed the game out, iced off the Cowboys, came out with a much-needed win for this team. But the Ravens are at home. They're hosting arguably the best team. I mean, I don't know how anybody could argue that they're not the best team in the NFL right now with the way that their offense and their defense is playing. But the Bills have to travel to Baltimore, play this tough Ravens defense. Beach, a couple stats for you. Bills offense, they're first overall in EPA per play, and they're first overall in success rate on the offensive side of the ball. Ravens defense has been down. I expect this to kind of regress to the mean a little bit because their defense is really talented, but 25th in EPA per play allowed, 15th in success rate allowed, 26th in yards per attempt allowed, and 32nd in total passing yards allowed. Very much down year for this John Harbaugh Ravens defense. Beach, this game, Ravens are 2.5 point favorites at home. Kind of surprising line. What do you think about this game? Who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, I think that's really surprising. I mean, the Bills have to come down to earth at some time, right? Or do they? Or will they? I don't know. All I know is this looks like the best team of football right now, and it almost stems from them not having like a star skill player besides Josh Allen, of course. And so they just go everywhere. I mean, he's spreading the ball out, getting everybody involved, and Joe Brady's calling up a great scheme, and it's very, very difficult.
It almost makes them better, right?
I know. I think so. I mean, the Chiefs were doing that the last 2 years, like they had Kelsey, right? But I mean, when Tyreek was gone, they didn't have a ringer in there. And so Patrick Mahomes was spreading the ball around. It's kind of are the Bills becoming the Chiefs? I don't know. We'll see. But I think that going into this game, the Ravens are riding the high of beating the Cowboys, who, are they bad? Maybe. They might be bad, the Cowboys. But They won nonetheless. Regardless, I do not think the Ravens should be favored in this game at all. Their offensive line is still a turnstile, and their defense is down, like you said, and they're not going to be able to stop this Bills offense. I think the Bills cover. I think the Bills win in Baltimore.
Wow. I mean, it's hard to not agree with you. I mean, the way that the Bills have been playing, they've been on fire. Everybody is involved in the offense, just like you mentioned. Their defense is playing lights out. I mean, I thought this team was actually going to have a down year on the defensive side of the ball, just with just a sheer lack of dudes, with big name defenders. But they're doing totally fine. Sean McDermott is putting on a clinic on the defensive side of the ball. I got to tell you, dude, I was shocked when I ran the projections and got Ravens 24, Bills 21. I was absolutely shocked. But let's talk about this. What the model is seeing is there's a lot of opportunity for the Ravens on the offensive side of the ball where they just haven't capitalized on. So there's a lot of opportunities for them, and it's assuming that they're going to positively regress to the mean of their offensive play and capitalize and have more explosive plays and more successful plays. And so I kind of believe that to some degree. I actually I think this Ravens team is built a little bit better to face this team like the Bills. One thing about Jacksonville, I think why they got shredded, they play over 50% cover one defensive zone. And Josh Allen, for one, is going to torch you with his legs, for starters, getting in and out of the pocket. And two, they spread the ball. They spread the offense out enough where if you play cover one that much, there will be a guy open. You have mismatches and guys like Dalton Kincaid, big wide receiver Keon Coleman, and more. And then you're also removing guys from the box. I just don't think that was the right call to play against this Bills red hot offense. So I think the Ravens actually will have a better game plan. I think we'll see a little bit more of the first half team that we saw against the Ravens and the Cowboys. So I actually do like the Ravens to keep this one much closer than teams have had in the past. I'm actually going to take the Ravens to win outright. I'm going to trust Scarlett here. I think they positively regress on the mean. I actually think this is going to be one of the higher scoring games on the slate.
Do you think it'll be a close game?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's going to be a really close game. I actually think the reason that the Ravens win this game is because Lamar beats him with his arm.
Really?
I really do. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Ravens will figure it out. This, however, is too early for me with the Red Hot Bills. But you know what I said earlier? Teams will look like one. They'll look like a team one week and a different team the next week. So you know what? I might eat my words on this. That's what I'm saying.
Dude, this is a paradox for me because now I look like an idiot picking against a team that just won by 40 on Monday Night Football. But hey, maybe if the Ravens actually win, then I look like a genius. But if they don't win, I just look like a fool. So I may eat my words there. Maybe that's a pick where I'm just too much into the numbers, into the model. But hey, I am the way I am. I'm not going to change. So, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. Drop your favorite picks for the Week 4 slate. Let us know who you got, who you're betting on. Some of your sleeper picks to win outright, some underdogs that you like to win. We love scanning the crowd for that information. It's awesome stuff. Also, if you're wanting to see our full projection list, make sure to follow us on X at @Statletics_. You can see all of our full game projections. They are there. So don't miss out on that.
It's called Twitter.
Yeah, it is Twitter. Also, the show is brought to you by Not Beer, American sparkling water. It's never bad to have a Not Beer. Never a bad time to have a Not Beer. Great summer, now fall refreshment. Perfect for the football season. I start my Saturdays and Sundays off with a Not Beer every weekend. So make sure to find the links to the store locators or the Amazon link in the comments below. Appreciate you guys. Beach, Seahawks. Go to the Lions. The Seahawks are 3-0. Believe it or not.
They are.
Head coach Mike McDonald has this team rolling. The Lions coming off a big win against the Cardinals last week. They're finally back home in the Dome. I expect points in this game. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites. The total is 47, which honestly seems a little bit low, if we're being totally honest. Yep. But this time, before I drop any numbers, any matchups, and what have you, give me your gut reaction on this game. Who do you like in this?
This one's tough for me because the initial spread that I saw was 3.5. And it's like, at 3.5, I'm kind of like, I think this is going to be a great game. An exciting game to watch. A lot of firepower on both sides of the ball. Both teams. For me, I mean, I love the Seahawks. I love the way they're playing, and the Lions started off real rough, and they got a bet together last week. I think I'm gonna be wrong on this, but I do at 3.5. I do like Seattle to cover because I do think it's gonna be a close, exciting game. But like I said earlier, I mean the Lions could win by 13. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, they definitely could. They have the team to do it. So we'll have to see if Seattle is able to expose anything on the back end of the Lions defense. And if they can, then I think just a high scoring, fun game, close game.
Yeah, dude, I agree. It's going to be a fun game. I actually think this could rival the Bills and the Ravens for the highest scoring game on the slate. If you look at the projections, man, it's pretty close to what Vegas has. Lions 23, Seahawks 20.5 really. So the model has it as a 2.5 point underdog for the Seahawks going into Detroit. Both teams are projected for more than 5 yards per play, which is a pretty big deal because that typically means unless they run a shit ton of plays, or they don't run a shit ton of plays, that the offense is going to find success. And so that's why I think this is going to be fired up by their offenses. I think both teams are going to deal in the passing game. The Lions defense hasn't lived up to the expectations in which we thought they were going to, how they were going to perform in this season. 13th overall in EPA per play allowed, 21st overall in success rate allowed for the Lions defense, while the Seahawks offense bolsters 16th overall in EPA per play on the offensive side of the ball, 14th in success rate, but they're first overall in pass rate over expectations, which actually skew those numbers that you heard above down. So they're really willing to open up the pass game, which we expected out of a play caller coming out of Washington and their offensive coordinator. They want to deal the football to their playmakers on the perimeter, and they have made that evident. I think this team is only going to get stronger on the offensive side of the ball because of that. Good things happen to teams who get their playmakers the ball, and I think that's what the Seahawks are actively trying to do. They want JSN, they want DK Metcalf, they want Tyler Lockett, they want Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker to have the ball in their hands almost every single offensive play. And by doing that, they get the ball to them via the passing game in space. And we're seeing a lot of good things come to fruition for the Seahawks offense. And so I actually do really like the Seahawks to come in here and push hard on the Lions. And I think that the advantage here is to the Seahawks because you have Mike McDonald, who is also a phenomenal defensive play caller. And so if we look at some of the Seahawks stats, on the defensive success rate, they're third overall in the league. Defensive EPA margin, 7th in the league. This defense is no joke, and they were one of the worst defenses in the leagues over the past few years. The Seahawks are legit, dude.
You know what that is? It's Mike McDonald versus Ben Johnson. Who will win?
Marquee matchup.
Who will win?
And I used to think that like Ben Johnson and this Lions offense were nearly matchup proof. And I still do think that to some degree. But they slowed down a little bit. They're 22nd overall in the passing success rate stat margin. I just need to see more. And with the loss of Sam Laporta, that takes away a guy that defenses really have to pay attention to. So they'll key in on Amon-Ra a little bit more. They'll key in on J-Mo a little bit more. Man, Seahawks 3.5 could potentially be a bargain.
Yeah, I mean, the difference maker in this game for me is DK Metcalf. I don't think that I'm not a huge DK fan, but I don't think that anybody can on the Lions defensive side can match the physicality of him. I think he's gonna have a really big game. I think they're gonna get the ball to him to make those plays, and he's gonna have a really big game.
Yeah.
And then is it Sean Witherspoon from Syracuse? Is that the corner they drafted on
yeah, little dude.
The Seahawks? And then who's the other one that Reek Woolen? Reek dogs. Dogs. They're so small. Dude. They're tiny, but it doesn't matter. They're dogs.
They are.
I'm in the Seahawks, baby.
I like Seahawks too, dude. I actually think they bring it to the Lions. It's a dome game, so there will be points scored. I mean, it's beautiful. We love the dome games. It's amazing for those who play fantasy football as well. Give me Seahawks to cover right there, 3.5. I'll take it. Okay, next big game that we wanted to discuss: the Vikings, who are legit. That's established now. Good call on you, Beach. Out of week 1. Packers. This is the week that I think we see Jordan Love back at the helm for the Packers. Packers are 2.5 point home favorites against the Vikings team They just tore up the Texans. And I think, a lot of people will look at the score of that Vikings game and think, wow, the Vikings held CJ Stroud to a really, really bad game on the offensive side of the ball. It's only 7 points. But I think the key takeaway needs to be, oh my God, Sam Darnold hung 34 on a top 10 Texans defense. That defense is not, it's not a middle of the pack unit. It's not a bad defensive unit. They're actually really, really good. And look what Sam Darnold just did. So before I ramble on with any of my numbers and the model projection, Beach, who you got in this NFC North matchup and why?
I'm actually changing my prediction right now. Just change it officially on the paper. Scratch out, rewrite. Okay. What a game. What a matchup. This is going to be super exciting to watch, especially with Jordan Love coming back this week. But even if he doesn't, I still think the Packers cover the 2.5 at home. Now, the Vikings, I mean, you could argue the Vikings are like a top 2 team so far in the NFL. But as we've seen with Saints, it's gone back down to earth, as we've not seen with the Bills yet. But these teams without high expectations before the season are absolutely killing it. And there has to be a little bit of regression here and there. And the Packers are a great team. And even with Malik Willis, with his rushing ability, he'll be able to get it out to the playmakers. So he'll be able to run the ball with Josh Jacobs. And I think that the Packers win, cover 2.5 at home in this divisional match.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack here, truthfully. Again, similar to the Bills-Ravens, I was kind of shocked when I saw the output where the model, Scarlett, had Packers by 1 in this game. So I think, if we're anticipating Jordan Love, that's certainly a boost. We have some outlandish folks saying, oh, man, Malik Willis, keep him in until Jordan Love is fully healthy. I think if Jordan Love can play, even if he is 75, 80%, I think he's still significantly better than the product that Malik Willis is putting on the field. And that's not a shot at Malik Willis. Malik Willis has played great football these past few weeks. And I think if he sticks in there as the backup for this team, he'll have a real opportunity to make a name for himself in the future. But the Packers team wants Jordan Love in here, calling the shots, throwing the ball whenever they can get him to. So interestingly enough, this Packers offense is really leaning heavy into their explosive plays. On the offensive side of the ball, they rank really well in terms of EPA per play. They're actually 8th overall in the league. Offensive success rate, though, they're 27th overall in the league. So they really struggle to consistently be successful when calling plays. But their explosive play rate is top 10. And we saw that with like the 50-yard run by Malik Willis, with the huge plays that Jaden Reith made. So they're not consistently beating people on this offense. So the key for the Vikings is if they can contain the playmakers, the explosive plays, they should easily win this game. Now, if Malik Willis plays, I think they absolutely do that. And I think they will know how to contain. Brian Flores runs a immaculate defense. He disguises this coverage so well. And it's few and far in between you see guys disguise cover 2 and make it look like cover 0. And that's exactly what Brian Flores does. And so I think the Vikings actually come out here, upset the Packers at Lambeau Field, and just continue to establish their dominance in this league.
No.
No, it's been decided.
It's been decided.
Well,
I don't have a rebuttal to that. I mean, the Vikings have looked amazing, but as I've said multiple times now, it's like these teams look every week. You don't know what you're going to get. So
I think that maybe teams like kind of like what we saw with. Well, I don't really know. I don't know what to say. Maybe the Saints offense is the best analogy here. You have teams like the Saints who just light the world on fire on the offensive side of the ball, and you kind of, we somewhat expected them to come back down to earth. Everybody does that. Like whenever somebody has these outlier performances, whether it's a team or a player, you expect them to kind of roll it back a little bit and come back to earth. But this Vikings offense kind of feels like it's one of those entities where they're doing this consistently. Not only consistently, but to good teams in these first 3 weeks of the league. This Packers offense is not anything that's like, they're not world beaters, okay? They're 21st overall in defensive success rate. On the defensive side of the ball in terms of EPA per play allowed, they're 18th overall on that margin. So, dude, Justin Jefferson is going to eat. Sam Darnold, I think, is going to continue to eat. And I think he's hungry and he's on a revenge tour. Give me the Vikings to cover the spread in Lambeau Field and shock the world.
It's just crazy that they've got Justin Jefferson, And they've got, I don't even know his first name, Naylor.
Jalen Naylor.
And Johnny Munt. And like I don't like they don't even have Jordan Addison or TJ Hawkinson. They're just
can you imagine what this team's gonna look like when Addison's fully healthy? TJ Hawkinson comes back into the mix. It's gonna be dirty. It's gonna be really dirty.
I say keep the way it is. Keep the way it is. Let them keep going. Keep one in. Keep one in. Do not insert them back to the lineup.
Fix it.
I know.
I like it. Okay, Beach, I had to throw this one into the mix. My Falcons, they lost in primetime to the Chiefs, the cheating Chiefs. 100% a PI on Kyle Pitts in the end zone there, but I won't let that fester. The Falcons host the Saints, who kind of came back down to earth at home against the Eagles last week in a kind of, just gut-wrenching loss. I mean, it really feels like the Saints kind of had somewhat control of that game there at the end, and then the Eagles just kind of stormed back on a few just, spur-of-the-moment plays. But Falcons 1.5 point home favorites against the Saints team, who I think still really has a good offense. So this Falcons team, they're sporting a, better than average defense. Really their playmakers on the back end out of Jesse Bates and AJ Terrell are the ones that really highlight the strong parts of this defense. Bringing in a guy like Matthew Judon for the pass rush for the Falcons has been huge as well. They can finally generate some pressure and force guys out of the pocket to have to make plays on the fly. Their offensive line got banged up, though, so this Saints defensive line, led by Cam Jordan, might give them fits in the run game and in the pass game. So that's a bit of concern. Before I get into the model projections and the numbers, Beach, what you got feeling about this game? Who do you like in this NFC South rivalry game?
I just think this is a perfect trap game. For people, all they saw were the highlights of Rashid Shaheed catching 70-yard bombs, and they see the Falcons lose. So are they 1-2?
Yep, 1-2.
Yeah, they see the Falcons as 1-2, and they see the Saints are underdogs. So they're like, oh, it's 100% the Saints right here.
Easy,
wrong.
Right?
Wrong. I also want to point out, I love the Falcons defensive front. I don't even know who they have up there besides Matthew Judon, but every single game that I've watched of theirs, it just seemed like they had control of that.
Yeah, can't forget about Grady Jarrett. Aaron Donald Jr.
Yeah, I also want to say that last play, that fourth down play against the Chiefs, what did you think of that play?
Bad.
That was a terrible play. It was a terrible play.
And I think that's just a product of new coaching.
Yeah.
It's a first time like true head coach, and Raheem Morris, and then Zach Robinson is his first time as the official offensive coordinator and play caller for a team. And I think just in that moment, it was just a learning lesson in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, you can't do that. You watch the way that game played. They never had any sort of success in the running game against the Chiefs all night. And then they go and they line up in a bear formation with a bunch of guys up front, virtually signaling, hey, I'm not passing, I'm going to run. You can't do that to a defense that just stymied you over and over and over. You have to spread it out and try and trick them. That's just what you have to do. The only teams that can do that are teams that have the offensive line to basically go up there and say, hey, I'm running the football, like we saw with the Eagles and the tush push. I'm going to do this, and you're just going to have to face it. So the Eagles don't, or the Falcons don't have that yet. So really disappointed in that play call, but I think it's going to be a good learning lesson for Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson.
The Eagles are the team that run that play where they have got the two backers. Yeah. Like it looks like it's going to be a tush push, and they'll hand it off to Saquon. You can't do that when Kirk Cousins is the person that's going to be doing the sneak. You can do that when Jalen Hurts is a threat. You can't do that when Kirk has no Achilles. And anyway, it's bad when I thought they were going to hand it off when it looked like a tush push. It's bad when I think that. Anyway, but if they don't mismanage that game, they beat the Chiefs. Just want to point that out there. I thought they were going to win. I really did.
I did too. I really did.
So that's what people don't look at when they just look at the score. And I think that this is back to this game. I think it's a trap game. I think the Falcons are a really good team. I really do. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to beat the Saints. They're going to cover that spread.
Yeah. Yep. I think this offense is just kind of getting more and more acclimated to each other. I think that there's still some chemistry that's being developed between some of the pass catchers and Kirk Cousins. I really am hoping that they change up the playbook a little bit. They're running a slower paced offense, and I don't think they can get away with that. I think they need to get it up a little bit. But their offense is not great. It's not bad. It's kind of middle of the road. For the Falcons, we're seeing an EPA on the offensive side of the ball, 22nd in the league overall. Whereas you flip it over to the Saints, you already know that they're first overall in EPA margin on the offensive side of the ball. second now. Excuse me. Bills are first after their 50-point game last night. But with that being said, with as much as we both like the Falcons in this game, the model does have the Saints by a whopping 4 points. So
bad.
I will open the floor up and just say I am biased. I think I love the Falcons. They're my team, and I'm blinded. But I think that them playing at home in Atlanta, their defense, their passing game is going to be able to at least hinder guys like Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed and just force them to keep the ball down low and force them to run the ball more often than not. I think they can make a push. I really do. I think the Falcons can make a push in this game. So I'm going to take the Falcons and disagree with Scarlett. But
you got to remember the Saints scored like 42 points on the Cowboys, and Derek Carr completed 9 passes. That's just not even like a replicable thing. That's just, we haven't seen that much so far in the season. But, I mean, the Saints are definitely better with Clint Kubiak, but not that good. So,
no.
Falcons win this game.
Okay, well, hey, you heard it here. Falcons win. Okay. Beach. Cowboys, Giants. Giants host the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. The Giants actually look kind of good. I have mixed feelings. They played the Browns. The Browns' offense is dog shit, but their defense, of course, we all know it's a really, really good unit, top 5 in the league. So the fact that Daniel Jones was able to put up 20-plus points against a top 5 defense should say something. I say Daniel Jones, but maybe I should say Malik Neighbors helped Daniel Jones get that 20 points. But, dude, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys really struggling to open up the season. It's more so their defense than anything. We're not seeing a whole lot of help on the defensive unit. In fact, they're getting run all over, just quite frankly speaking. They're actually really, really, solid against the pass, but they're getting run all over. And I expect the Giants to do the same here. They'll whip up Devin Singletary, run the ball. And I really think that Daniel Jones gets active in the run game here. Cowboys defensive success rate in terms of rushing, 30th overall in the league. You flip it over to the offensive success for the Giants, they're 14th overall in rushing success rate. I think that's going to be the key matchup for this game. The Cowboys need to strengthen their run game if they want to win this game. I actually do think the Giants have a chance if that's not the case. Beach, who do you like in this game and why? Giants are 6-point home underdogs.
Yeah, I just don't understand how you get the Cowboys being a 6-point favorite on the road after what they've shown this season. That just doesn't make any sense. By the way, the bonus bet of the week is Daniel Jones over whatever his rushing is.
There you go.
But yeah, I think the Giants hold their own at home. They felt they could control that game against the Browns, which is impressive because of the Browns' defensive, the players having that defense and how it's one of the top 5 in the league. So I think the Giants, it's a short week, but I think they're doing okay, but wear and tear wise. So I think the Giants go ahead and cover that 6 at home.
Dude, yeah, and
I think they could win. Dude.
Malik Neighbors is officially a game breaker at this point. Let me just read you guys some stats here. 12.9 yards per route run. Massive. Although CD does have a bigger number than that. We'll get that in a second. 2.38 yards per route run. 108 yards after the catch. Dude's a beast. And we saw his acrobatic catch in the end zone last year. Really, at this point, all you have to do is get it in his window, and he'll make something happen. So
Malik down there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So I was shocked. This is one of the bigger, if not the biggest discrepancies in the model projection with what we see in Vegas spread. Giants +6 at home compared to the model. Scarlett has Giants +1 at home. So the model, Scarlett thinks that this Giants team is going to keep it a lot closer, and it anticipates there being points scored. And I can believe that. I can actually believe that. So I think this game surprises everybody. It's one of the better games on the slate. A lot of people are throwing shade on Daniel Jones and the Giants, which some of it is warranted, but I think that they can get it done at home and cover that +6. I don't think they win outright, but I do think they cover. Beach, final thoughts?
They definitely can win, but they cover. They cover for sure.
I like it. Okay, we'll get into some more of the rapid fire portion of it. We'll still kind of walk through, give our brief synopsis of the games. But, Beach, I wanted to talk about your Steelers. Anthony Richardson looked awful last week, even though they snuck out a win against the Bears. Now he has to face one of the best defenses, if not the best defense, in the league, and the Steelers at home, though. So that's boding well for them. Colts are 1.5-point underdogs at home. Beach, who do you like to win this game and why?
I think it's a field goal game, and honestly, it's kind of a coin toss. AR does something really good and something really stupid, and he'll get there. We've talked before about he's only played in 20 total games or something in college and the NFL, right? So we have to kind of treat him like a rookie.
Yeah.
And I think he'll get there towards the end of the year, but this defense is going to be tough to get past. Now, I do think the Colts have a little bit of an upper hand with how the Steelers play. It's a slower slog pace play. And so I think they'll be in it. I do think that it comes down to a field goal at the end of the game. But, I'm going to ride the 3-0 Steelers. Come on now. Get out of here.
Yeah. Dog status.
I got to.
Hey, I like that. I like that. Actually, I love what you said about how you think that the style of this game is going to favor the Colts, because I actually think it will. In the way that Anthony Richardson plays, and I think the way that Shane Steichen is going to be calling this game based off of Anthony Richardson's play last week is going to play out, also favors them. If they have to kind of keep up with teams who play, quicker paced and more explosive on the offensive side of the ball, then it requires Anthony Richardson to do the same. But because it's going to be slowed down and it's going to be a really, really run-heavy game, I think that actually favors the Colts. Mm-hmm. I think they throw the ball a lot less in this game. They really get active in the run game, and they try and mitigate the pass rush that the Steelers bring in on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive success rate for the Steelers is 29th overall in the league, 19th overall for the Colts. So I do love what I'm seeing out of Justin Fields, but I just need to see more. So maybe this is the game that we see that, but I just need to see a little bit more out of Justin Fields before I can have full confidence in a Steelers team going on the road somewhere and getting a win. And it's crazy. A lot of people will give me shit because they are 3-0. They are one of the better teams in terms of wins and losses in the league right now. But with that being said, I think the Colts surprise everybody with the game script and the way that they handle this game. They run the ball, and 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 absolutely wear the Steelers defense out, and they win by a close margin. So
I will say real quick, Alex Highsmith, linebacker, did go on IR. That's a big thing also. So we'll see. I don't know who's in for him now. But I want to touch on the Justin Fields thing real quick. I think that Arthur Smith is kind of a control freak, and I don't think that he's going to allow – he's probably told him, don't do this, run my offense, and that's not a great way to play. But they're going to do that until Tomlin says otherwise, I guess. But I've been impressed with Fields so far.
Yeah, I have too. I've seen him actually make plays with his arm, and then I'm like, wow, okay, maybe this guy can be, a franchise QB for the Steelers.
Really? So did you officially take the Colts?
Do what?
Did you officially take the Colts to cover this spread?
I'm taking the Colts. Beer bet. Okay, right. Beach. Two teams that just got blown out. I still think they can be relevant, but two teams that just got railed last week. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags have to go play CJ Stroud and the Texans. The Texans are a whopping 7-point favorite at home against a Jaguars team that was just demoralized. So you can shape this any way you want. Some people were going to say, I think the Jaguars are going to be pissed off, ready to go. They're going to bring it to the Texans. You can make the same argument for the Texans. All right. So it really is just not much that you can take away from a morale standpoint because the argument is the same for both teams. So let's try and be objective as we can about these matchups. The defense for the Texans is so much better than the Jaguars defense. The offense for the Texans is so much better than the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence looks lost out there. Doug Peterson has done him no favors with the play calling as well. It's just really hard for me to wrap my head around the Jaguars keeping this close. The model has this as a 6-point game. So close with the Vegas spread. But, man, Beej, what do you think?
Well, let me ask you this. Are the Jaguars going to change their defensive scheme to get out of that cover one? Do you think?
I mean,
they've done that the first 3 weeks, right?
3 weeks. Maybe they do because I'm sure that a 47-10 loss probably is going to incline you to change your ways on both sides of the ball.
So if they don't change, they get killed again.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud and his receivers will expose the heck out of that. But if he does change, it's something that the Texans can't really prepare for because they haven't seen it all season. And you do that, and Trevor Lawrence doesn't have to come from behind, and I think the Jaguars cover if that's the case. So I'm going to go with that they're not going to change, and the Texans are going to cover those 7 at home.
Yeah, I think this is an aggressive, I need to take out all of my anger for the Texans more so than it is the Jaguars. The reason I say that is because I think, with the Texans, we saw more so surprises from the Vikings in their game plan for CJ Stroud. It wasn't, I think it was more the Vikings game plan against the Texans was just significantly better from an X's and O's standpoint, where with the Jaguars, they don't have the it factor. Trevor Lawrence doesn't have the it factor. He seems lost in the pocket. I mean, you saw that errant throw to Brian Thomas Jr. over the middle. He was wide open, but he just airmailed him, and it went directly into Damar Hamlin's hands. So I do like the Texans to cover here. I just think they're significantly better on both sides of the football. So 1 + 1 is 2 for me. Give me the Texans. Not going to overthink it. Beach. Panthers, a little bit of a revival with the Red Rocket and Andy Dalton playing quarterback. I had them on upset. I had the Raiders on upset alert, and I was right. Love to see it. Panthers host the Bengals, who just got embarrassed by Jaden Daniels on Monday Night Football. Andy Dalton revenge game here against his former team and the Bengals. Panthers are 4.5-point home underdogs. Who do you like in this game and why?
Yeah, I mean, we would expect the Bengals to, not be 0-4, right? Give me the Red Rocket to come. The secondary still sucks for the Bengals. Give me the Red Rocket to come out here and win this ballgame.
Revenge tour, baby.
What do you have? 315 yards, 3 touchdowns. Come on now.
It's a revenge tour. So the model, see, it's kind of wild. There's a 73% chance that the Bengals win this game, and that's
you're saying there's a chance.
That's a higher discrepancy than what we typically see out of some of these probabilities. I mean, but I do think that there is some life that's been breathed into this Panthers team. I think this Bengals defense is one that you can feast off of. But I think this offense is going to prevail. This defense is just too bad for the Panthers. It's, as good as this offense can be, this game the Panthers could score 28 points, and I will think that the Bengals are going to score 40. I don't think the Bengals are frauds just yet. I don't think they're going to be counted out just yet. I still think they have the pieces to be a team that makes a push, whether it's a wild card or, division winner. It's kind of shaky right now, but I still think they'll be there. Give me the Bengals to cover. Sorry. I know that everybody wants to go with the Red Rocket, but the model likes the Bengals here. Another fun one for you. The Eagles and the Bucks play each other this week. The Bucks just got handed to by Bo Nix and the Broncos. Eagles are coming off of a, just good win, like a morale-boosting win against the Saints. Eagles have to travel to Tampa Bay. Bucks are 2.5-point home underdogs. Does Baker Mayfield and the Bucks bounce back, or do the Eagles continue to trend back upwards? What do you think?
I think this is a high-scoring game. That's what I think. I'm excited for it. Eagles win by 6.
Eagles win by 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Bucks are still banged up on the secondary, and Kellen Moore is going to be ready to shred that thing.
I think there's going to be a lot of points scored too. Mono has this game as a pick even inherently, so 22-23 just about. That's what it's looking like. So I agree with you. I do think there's going to be a lot of offense. I think that Bucky Irvin breakout game is here because you can run all over the Eagles. The Saints didn't really do that as well as I thought they would, but I still think it's up for the taking. My biggest fit that I have with the Bucks is their pass blocking. Baker Mayfield was running for his life against the Broncos team, who is underrated but not like world beaters as pass rushers. So Baker Mayfield, I think, will be handing off the ball a lot this game, but because of that, they're going to find success in the run game, and they're just going to build the passing game off of their success in the run game. And I think they're going to really, really put the Eagles on the ropes here. Give me the Bucks to cover 2.5 at home.
I will say this. The Eagles might not have any receivers. They might have Brian Covey or whatever his name is, because Devonta Smith died on the field for sure. And A.J. Brown's still out with a hamstring, so they might be pretty thin. So if that's the case, if Devonta's out, we relook at it. But as of now, if Devonta plays this game, and I don't know the status of A.J. Brown, I'm assuming 1 more week, but if they had all their skill players, then yeah, they'd shred. But I have to maybe wait on this one. I'll see the injury report.
Gotcha. Well, hey, for this next game, one more to answer. Browns go to the Raiders. Raiders are 1.5-point home underdogs. Who do you have winning this game?
Yuck. Browns.
Hey, those 2 words, but I'll take it. I'll take it.
Sorry.
Give me the Raiders. I think they bounce back off of a disgusting win. Antonio Pierce is going to get them back fired up.
Be the bench?
No.
Stay bench.
I think it'll be fun. It's the running game. That's the suspect. Commanders coming off of a heater. I guess the Bengals go to the Cardinals. Cardinals host the Red Hot Commanders. Cardinals are 3.5-point home favorites. Do you like the Commanders as 3.5-point dogs, or do you think the Cardinals can cover?
This is a Cliff revenge tour.
It is a Cliff
go
revenge
back to the
tour.
Cardinals.
It is a Cliff revenge tour.
And because of that, they're not forcing Jaden Daniels to do anything incredible, but he is being incredible. His deep passing is great, and they're giving him a lot of horizontal raid options, and he can use his legs. And yeah, I think they're going to cover. I think it's a Cliff revenge tour.
Okay.
Not just riding high on this is another one that's going to be high scoring. It's got to be.
Okay. I like it. Give me the Cardinals, cover the spread, and win. I think this offense
everything today
gets hot. Yeah. It'll be fun. Okay, the last one I wanted to talk about. The rest of the games are a bit gross. You have the Patriots and the 49ers. 49ers are 10-point spreads. Until we see Drake May, I'll probably not even discuss this team. That's just gross. And the Chiefs are 8-point favorites against the Chargers team, who are looking to potentially be without Justin Herbert. So you can check out what the model says about those games if you're interested. Titans go to Miami to play the Dolphins. This is the last one I want to talk about. We might see Tyler Huntley start a quarterback for the Dolphins.
Snoop.
Do you think the Titans can get a win here, finally, on Monday Night Football?
They suck. I think if Snoop Huntley starts, then I think the Dolphins will win. If Snoop Huntley does not start, I have not. This team suck. Both of them suck.
They do.
So bad.
They do.
But I think Will Levis is the worst quarterback ever. But Skylar Thompson isn't much better, or isn't better at all. I think the Dolphins can win with their playmakers.
Okay. I think the Titans will win this game. I'm taking a bold take here. I do think the Dolphins will be able to, get their shit together eventually. But I don't know if I trust a quarterback who just joined the team a couple weeks ago versus a quarterback who just got beat to hell. And Skylar Thompson and may play this game. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the Titans have a really, really strong defensive front that's going to make some things happen, and they're going to make whoever the quarterback is in this game, their life really difficult. So give me the Titans to finally get a win. Beach, happy week 4. We're done for today. Guys, we appreciate you listening, and we will be back here not next week or the week after that. Actually, I take that back. I think I will be here next week, but I will be taking a few weeks off as I am getting hitched. But more to come. Guys, thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys later.